something people are not quite aware of. I was telling you guys about these federal jobs, right? And one of the things that I was telling you is like, when we're talking about the number of people that have lost federal jobs, it's important to remember that we're talking about also people who are veterans. Okay. So one of the things that I am very familiar with, my dad is a veteran. A lot of times when people retire from the military, they get other jobs, right? So when they get other jobs, most of the time, these are federal jobs, whether it's working for the VA, whether it's, working for Social Security or, what other type of federal job. A lot of times people will go and they will work for the post office. Like that's also not uncommon for veterans to do. So when we're talking about people losing their jobs, we're also talking about veterans. And I want to bring this up here.
With everything being let go, patient care ends up being delayed. And hypothetically, what if it is a veteran on that patient table and, that instrument or that device can't be delivered because it didn't get there in a timely manner?
Mark Wagstaff is one of 6,000 veterans who have been fired from the federal government by Elon Musk and Doge.
Donald Trump has fired more veterans than any president in the history of the United States. In 6 weeks!
Obviously, with me being impacted, I'm downsizing my current living arrangement right now.
Pause. So here's someone who is a veteran that now has to downsize their living arrangement because they lost their job. This is what I was trying to tell people. If you're going after waste, I said you start with the Pentagon first and you go after the Pentagon budget, right? So cut the defense spending. That's the easiest one to go to. No, Elon Musk is going after workers. So my question to those who care a lot about the veterans, if you care about the veterans, you shouldn't be happy about this. And everybody, and it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to think about it because it's not happening to me, but it could happen to you. So now he has to figure out what he's going to do with his living situation. A veteran. And I've said this before. A lot of times people say, oh, we care about the veterans. No. Most of the time, people don't really care about those veterans. Let's continue.
To make sure that I can still afford everything I need to afford and have a roof on my head, clothes on my back, food to eat.
Mark worked for the VA, coordinating healthcare supply logistics for his fellow vets.
I was supporting all the clinics, everything from the ER room to the operating room to just primary care, your basic checkups. When you talk about patient care, we're not just talking about benefits. We're not just talking about disability ratings where, making sure the veterans are compensated for their service and their disabilities. We talk about patient care just coming in to get a Band-Aid.
Right. That part right there. So the VA already had issues to begin with. And I can tell you that from experience. The VA has been known for being slow on certain services. So that's not something that's new. So imagine laying off a lot of workers at the VA. That means that services that were already slow are going to be even more slower. And services that probably weren't as slow before are now going to be slow. You see, I want you to put 2 and 2 together here when I say it's a mad world. I want you to realize that while they are laying off people who are federal workers, they are taking from them. This guy right now is going to lose some of his wealth. He just told you he has to downsize. So he's going to lose some of his generational wealth that he probably could have passed on to his kids. But you know who's not downsizing? You know who's not losing their generational wealth? The billionaires. Elon Musk, while he's going in and he's taking an axe to all these different positions, notice that he's not losing anything. Notice that he's not losing government contracts. Notice that he's not having to downsize. None of the billionaires are having to lose any wealth. None of the billionaires are having to downsize. That's not a partisan thing. That's just reality. But now you have people, these people are. Now they spent all these years, they went and fought for their country. They come back home. Okay, we're done with the service now. We are going to get a federal job, and federal jobs come with good benefits. And now he loses his job and he's like, well, now I got to downsize, got to do all this. You went and did all that for your country. And this is how you're paid back in return. Now, as I said before, is there waste? Yes. Should we know how our government is spending the money? Yes. Should people lose their jobs? No. I told you that this would affect working class people. And now you see it's hitting veterans. We'll let him finish.
Who's going to deliver that Band-Aid? We're stewards of the government's money, the taxpayer dollars, but also at the same time, we're doing our best to make those decisions on the best behalf of democracy.
VA healthcare has been thrown into chaos across the country as the Trump administration indiscriminately fires staff.
Patient care is being affected even in this moment as we speak. I'm still connected to my coworkers and friends that still work there. They're working overtime. They're being asked to work, on their day off. Patient care was ever growing in Southern Nevada. So we seen the demand of medical supplies being needed on the field to the point where we were working numerous overtime, working some of the weekends and everything like that. With that strategy, we needed to hire more people.
As a Marine and federal employee, Wagstaff says he's always worked hard for his country. DOJ and the Trump administration have been devastating to that ethos.
It makes you question, what good is public service if this is the way we're going to treat, our civil servants in the government sector? We didn't just choose these careers. We still made an oath to the Constitution of the United States. We still raise our hand and take the oath just like any other active duty personnel. And I still stand on that. I'll support and defend this Constitution all day through. I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. But please, Mr. President, give us some guidelines. Give us the path of, what you plan to do, long-term plans. Don't just keep making these decisions brash, day in and day out.
Yeah, so it's
with everything, food to eat.
Mark,
it's unfortunate. Another veteran has lost their job, and like I said before, the billionaires aren't losing any wealth. They're not losing their jobs. They're not losing any of this. These are working class people. A lot of people in the military don't make much money, guys, especially if you're a lower rank. And there ain't none of them making money like Elon or like Jeff Bezos, right? So let's keep it real. Now they are giving tax breaks to the billionaires, but working class people are having to suffer. So someone was asking me in the chat, MBD said, what's your solution, Sabby? Tax the billionaires. Why are we giving billionaires tax breaks? Do you get tax breaks? I don't get a tax break. This is part of the reason why the middle class is almost non-existent in this country, because along the way, we decided to give more benefits and more breaks to the very, very ultra rich. The billionaires, that top 0.01%, they're getting the breaks instead of people who really should be getting those breaks. You got to look back at these things. And so that's how we got here. So when Elon Musk goes through all these different services and he says, I'm going to cut from this, I'm going to cut from that, cut from this, is he cutting his government contracts? No. We got to think, people. We got to think. You can't just say, well, they're better than the other administration or whatever, so I'm fine with it. People are fine with it until it hits you. Because I'm noticing more people are complaining about $10 eggs now. And I hope what this message sends us, what it says to people, what it shows people, is that at the end of the day, these people are not coming to save you. This is why organizing and community building is so important. This is why the Black Panthers did what they did, because they knew the government wasn't going to save them. They knew they weren't going to come and save their community. They said, we have to save and help each other. And they were doing pretty well at that. When people are running for office, you have to remember that they are running to get your vote. After they get your vote, they're not really beholden to you anymore. We've seen this regardless of the party. People always talk a good game. I'm going to do this, and that. And then they get in and they don't even do half of that. Half of that. Now, Donald Trump did implement a lot of executive orders that his base did want. However, I'm even seeing Trump supporters on social media say, when he said he was going to get rid of waste, we didn't realize that meant that they were going to lay people off. Now, that veteran is just being laid off, but during the State of the Union address, they made it very clear to you that they're about to let more people come over with H-1B visas to get jobs. So if your campaign was America first, that's not America first. Everybody wake up and see what's going on. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.